So I guess we are live. Let me turn off my music then, because I can hear it in my head. I don't know if y'all can hear it. Hey, Annette, thank you for joining in. We are early, live in effect. This is my new podcast machine that I'm talking on. So it's a new microphone. Check, 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 check. Can you hear me okay? Just say a yes or no. If you can hear me, please say yes or no. I will turn everything up a bit. And we'll try the music. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Let's have some applause for that. Yay. We got the crowd in here. We're going to get some laughter. And then we will get some cheering in this bitch, okay? Okay, so we're gonna get down to business. My name is OnyxRose. OnyxRose Oyawunmi Usunkemi. And yes, OnyxRose is my name. Osunkemi is my name, as well as Oyawunmi. Up there in the top left-hand corner, I don't know if y'all can see it, but I can definitely see it, where it says, let's see, what does it say? It says OnyxRose Osunkemi Oyawunmi. It's got the non-binary symbol. But people have been trying to tell me that's the genderqueer non-binary symbol or something like that. And to me, that is fine because honestly, if you're non-binary, I don't know, by definition, you're kind of genderqueer, aren't you? If you're genderqueer, you're non-binary. And if you're non-binary, to me, you're trans. So basically, you're trans. And that is how all of this works. So I'm going to first wave this flag. Yay! It is the Progress Pride flag. And we all know this because we are all queer in here. Well, maybe. I'm not sure about that. But I'm queer. I'm gay. I'm all of that shit. Pan, gay, polyam, but monogamous for my egg. As I always say, if there were something that would be serious that would come up, then there would have to be a discussion. Although Eggy probably would not go for it, I would really have to push for the discussion. I do feel like I have the capacity, and I have always felt like this, and she's known this. But I think I've been pushing it a little bit more recently. But I have the capacity and I have the understanding to know that there is more than one form of love and the ability to have more than one partner and share that love and have an equality in that love, as opposed to, this is my down bitch, and then I've got this one on the side and this one on the side. Well, that's fine. I have no problem with that. I kind of think that would be how it would be with me and Egg, because Egg would be my number one. But I feel like I have the capacity to love unconditionally many people. And it has happened over my life where I have fallen in love. But of course, I'm with Egg, and that doesn't change anything right now. So that's the way we roll. So I wanted to start at 4:20. We were going to Wendy the Druid and all of us were going to go live for Trauma Talk today at 4, but there were some issues and we could not do it. So I decided to take up part of the time that I had allotted to it and just get on and ramble away. By the way, my Substack is onyxrose9.substack.com, and I do not write long form poetry or anything on it anymore. Excuse me. Okay, thank you. I do not write long form, so I don't write anything on it. I don't write poetry. I don't write long form. I don't write short stories. Nothing. No fiction. I don't really write fiction anyway. I'm not good at it. I'll try my hand at it again. But all of that is at onyxrose.net. That is HTTPS colon backslash backslash OnyxRose dot net. Please subscribe. And if you do happen to open an article and read it, not an article, it's an article or a story, whatever you want to call it. Excuse me, and I'm sorry again. Oh, goodness. If you do want to open an article and read it, please do. But click on the ad. Like, so while the ad doesn't do anything to you, in other words, it's not going to spam you. They're not going to start sending you emails and all of that, but it will help fund my creativity, my mental and emotional creativity. And I do put in some work and some thought, when I write. That doesn't mean I'm a deep writer. I am not a political writer. I am not a trained writer, but I write, what I think. Usually it's what's called, I don't know what it's called, like not free verse, but um, something of consciousness, stream of consciousness, something of along those lines. And when I write poetry, I write in colors and in shapes and in objects that come to me. So let's just say, excuse me. Oh, and when you hear me do that, that is because my medication that I take makes me drool. Sexy, right? Yeah. So, yeah. So I don't know what I was talking about. I tend to lose track very easily. It's the ADHD in me. That the brain tracks one way and then like hits something else, and I'm like, oh, a squirrel. But that's really not the way it goes, and I don't want to portray it as such. So, first of all, let me pop my fan, and today's fan is the same as earlier this morning. It does say beautiful on it. It is from, let's see, yeah, this one is from the place where I get my hormones and my HIV testing and my STI testing. I get that every 6 months, and my blood work, just because I am being responsible. I did not get an HIV test for about let's see. Well, I had never had an HIV test before, like 3 years ago, and I have had some activity that lends toward the effect that I probably should have had a test earlier than that. But luckily, everything came out negative, and I'm good. All the everything else came out negative as well. Now, so I'm on HRT. I have been on HRT since 2016, taking shots. As a matter of fact, I had my shot today, so I feel extra spicy. The shot was good. I love my hormones. The cool thing about hormones, like it doesn't change your voice for uh, people assigned male at birth, as I was. And first of all, I hate that term, but there's not another great way around saying that. So I go ahead and use it. But yeah, I was assigned male at birth. I don't know why, but I was. And, I forgot where I was going with that too. There's something, I'll circle back around. But the point of the matter is that I came on here today to talk about two things, and I wanted to talk about my podcast, because my podcast machine, because I love it, and it can do things like gunshot, or it can do like slapping. Ow! Now this is really funny. I don't know if that is supposed to be awkward. And that to me sounds like a crow. And I know earlier me and Joe had a discussion about a crow and what it sounds like, though. Um, Edgar Allan Poe wrote about a crow, or was it a raven? I never know. Hi, Third. What's up? So today we're going to talk about seeds, and more seeds. So I live in an illegal state, which sucks. It's 440, so I wanted to start at 420, but things got kind of complicated. Anyway, I live in a state where it's illegal to grow. So I do not grow because I live in an apartment, and that we would be kicked out so fast, and just on the streets. What I did for a period of time was collect a bunch of seeds, thinking that Georgia was going to make it legal sometime soon. And then when they did this bullshit where they closed the loop in the 2018 Farm Bill, thereby ceasing all hemp products by the end of this year. That's going to put out a very big industry of hemp growers, seed distributors, um, uh, you know, THCA type things, and if you don't know what THCA is just like weed's baby cousin. Once you combust THCA, it becomes THC, so thereby turning it into the type of cannabis that gets you high. I don't think the psychoactive effects are as strong. I do have THCA, and I do have regular old weed. My plug gets it to me like regularly. And I can tell the difference. And what I usually do is I mix both of them. I mix both of them because it's more economical for me. I can buy some THCA online, have it shipped to me, and I can get like an ounce for $85 and it's like some kind of quality. And here's the thing. I went through when we passed through St. Louis, and we went to the what's it called, to the dispensary. Hey, Gabby, thanks for joining. Excuse me. So when we passed through St. Louis and stopped at the dispensary, all they were selling was THCA. So and as it appears, every dispensary I've been to, they sell a lot of THCA and not THC. Of course, they sell like theirs are probably up to a more stringent standard. I don't know, but damn it. Okay, sorry. Hi, Gabby. But yes, it is still THCA. So, and what I'm saying is that there's a whole industry that grows, processes, sells all of this stuff, the THCA, and all the products associated with, gummies, candies, fizzy drinks, things like that, that are legal. Oh, God, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, the industry sells things that are legal right now. The 2018 Farm Bill made it legal through a loophole, and that loophole has been shut firmly. So what that means is you can't buy after the end of this year. You're not going to be able to buy marijuana seeds anymore, and that's a shame because how else are we going to grow? I guess like in the legal states, you can go to a dispensary and pick up some seeds, or it's just going to become, it's basically going to become underground again, and people aren't going to give a shit. We're going to get seeds the way we get seeds. But first of all, I don't have guns in my house because I have bipolar disorder. And having bipolar disorder would make it too easy, you know what I'm saying? So instead, I have batons and swords. Ching! Yes. Y'all can't fuck with me. I got a lot of these all around the house. Knives, swords, forks, tines, anything that will fuck you up. Now, of course, what this means is if somebody has a pew pew, I'm in a fuck place because I can't, I'm not gonna unless I can throw this at them. I'm not going to be able to stop them. But I will certainly try. I will definitely try. Yeah, it is badass. Thank you. But like I said, today is seed days. Is seed day. This whole thing right here is full of seeds. So what this represents is about, and I am not going to joke. Trying not to cough. Trying not to cough. And I'm also going to do the calculations. So if I'm thinking about it, each pack was about $50. I've got, I don't know. I can't do math very well, but I would say it's close to $10,000 to $15,000 worth of seeds in here. Yes. Okay, so we're gonna do a little show and tell. Yeah, because I love my seeds, even if I can't grow them right now. I like to have them, and I will grow them. They're stored. Oh shit, they're stored well, so that's okay. So the first pack we have is OG Kush Auto Flower. And this is Ethos, I think. Ethos brand, OG Kush Auto Flower. Yep. And then we have the world famous, and when I say world famous, I mean it. World famous can always plan for the future. Yep. So world famous Dutch Passion. If anybody's been to Amsterdam, if anybody's been to the Netherlands, if anybody's into weed, then you know that Dutch Passion was one of the first, if not the first, seller of premium seeds to make hardcore dank. And this is the stanky stank. When I went to Amsterdam in 1996, no, I'm sorry, 1998, this was the first thing I smoked. It was called White Widow. And at that time, I did not know. I didn't know what it was going to do. I was just like, yeah, let me roll this spliff. And I was like, why am I rolling spliff? Because back then they were throwing like tobacco in it. And they were like, just throw some tobacco in this shit. And, I understood because it was so sticky. Like my fingers were so sticky. Anyway, me and this homie, we get down, so we were in the coffee shop. We were staying off the Dom. I think the Dom. And so we go back to our little place and light up. And the thing is, within like 10 minutes, I was fucking out. That shit was powerful. And I guess you'll always remember like the first time you get stupid stoned. I had been stoned before, and like back in the day, we were getting sticks and stems, seeds and all that in our brick weed. And that shit's first of all, I don't know how much of this is going to be tagged. It doesn't matter. So yeah, sticks and stems. And we'd have to break it all up and chop it all out. And it just wasn't pretty. It wasn't good, So nowadays we get premium dank. And so there are no seeds in your weed unless you want there to be, So when you want seeds, you put seeds by growing male and crossing female with male or something like that. It's definitely awesome. So Speedrun. Speedrun is a seed company, and I have been following them from the very beginning of when they started out. And when they started out, they were actually under another name. And I'm trying to find, I can't find, here it is. Okay. So they used to be called Mutant Genetics. So Speedrun used to be called Mutant Genetics. I'm trying to find a better way to show this off. Let me see if I can do this. Let me turn the light. Now we have light. Mutant genetics, mutant genetics. So mutant genetics became speedrun. Um, and this this is a pretty classic thing. They've got fruit, what's it called, fruit fuel, which is fuel based, of course, and I love fuel. Supreme runts. If anybody knows anything about weed, then the runts all fucking hit really hard and started pretty soon, not pretty soon, but started and then just kept on coming. And I was like, all right, let's give a break on the runs, y'all. Sapphire, that's good. But their main speedrun's main weed is Granite Haze, and Granite Haze is fire, really thick nugs, so nice colas. Way to go! So, uh-huh. So this is one of the what I would call the gold standards of the autoflower. Oh, and first of all of these, well, most of these, 95% of these are, and more than 95% of these are autoflowers. And the difference between autoflowers and the other one, ah, shit, I've been out of the weed game except for smoking for so long. I can't remember. I have all my equipment and I was ready to grow, but I had a place and then that place fell through. So I have everything stashed somewhere else. But photo periods. Okay, there's autoflowers and photos. So the photos you can either grow outside or you can grow inside in a grow tent. The difference is you have to you have to allow flower for a certain amount of time and then you switch over. I mean, you have to have one for a certain amount of time and then you switch over for flower. With autoflower, it's like and the thing with photo periods is that it is a lot longer to grow. So photo periods are like they follow the yearly cycle. You start in March or April and you harvest in October or September. With autoflowers, you can start whenever the fuck you want. You can control everything. It's an environment that you can control. You can grow in a grow tent. You have your lights. You can set your timer. You can set the humidity. You can set everything you want. You can set the fans. The gold standard, and the thing with autoflowers is that they are done usually in 60 to 90 days, 60 to 100 days. Let's see what this one says. This doesn't say anything about how long it takes, but yeah, it's usually 60 to 100 days. 100 days is on the long end, so we're talking about 3 months, to where if you do it properly, if you are someone who can grow weed, then you can get like 3 to 5 pounds, and that's a lot of weed. Now, of course, I shouldn't say 3 to 5 pounds. That is a lot of weed. Maybe 1 to 3 pounds on 2 seeds, 3 seeds. The novice, which would be me, the novice may get an ounce off of a seed to begin with. But as you get better, then 2 ounces, 3 ounces, 4 ounces. You start training, then you can get 6 ounces. You can start getting quarter pounds and half pounds, so on and so forth. But this one I'm holding right here is Mephisto Genetics, and them and another one I have are the standard bearer of the seed company. They went out of the seed bearers. They went out and excavated. They went all around the world to find the landrace type of weed, which are weed native to certain countries and that grow naturally. They aren't planted there; they just grow. And then they cross genetic to however you do the cross multiplying or whatever it's called with genetics, and came up with these things like Sour Stomper. Yay, Sour Stomper, Three Bears OG. And then I got a bunch of free seeds, of course, with that. The other thing is Barney's Farms. Barney's Farm is a pretty big category of seeds as well. and you can get a lot of seeds from them. This is Gorilla Z Skittles or Z Kittles. That's a popular brand, and you can get that kind of weed in just about any brand, I should say, any branding. So like any seed company. Um, yeah. So yeah, I'm talking seeds, y'all. That's all I got today. Uh, so I might just flip for a minute into oh anyway. You know what? I'm not going to talk about seeds. I'm tired of seeds. All I know is I've got a lot of seeds in here, and so I've got a lot of weed in here. And if I could just get about 10 growers to help me grow all this, um, I would have weed for them and weed for me and weed for my bestie and weed for whoever wanted it, but I wouldn't necessarily become a dealer because that's not what I want to do. Not what I want to do. I've got a plug, and he's cool, and he's been my plug for like 10 years. So we've built a we've built a good relationship. If it ever did become legal, I'm not going to, just throw him away. We have built a relationship, and it's kind of cool because um, I started actually, so it's been longer than 10 years. So I actually started working, getting trees from this guy before I started transitioning. And, and then I started transitioning, and this plug, and when you think of a plug, you think of certain things. When you think of dealer, you think of certain things. You think of the gun, and you think of you better got my money, and like if you get in the wrong situation. But this man has been the sweetest man to me, uh out of any man I've ever known. Seriously, any man I have ever known, gay, straight, cis, trans, any man. Um, this man has been the kindest, most respectful man to me ever. And that includes my dad, you know. It includes any man in my life. And he always calls me ma'am. He always calls me by my first name, and has always called me by my first name. Um, he looks at me directly. It's not like he's just saying it and not talking to me. We have conversations, and he looks at me, and he respects me, and he sees me, for who I am, without fault and without embarrassment. And that's the real man. He's not like, we're not romantically inclined. That is not something that I'm looking for, and I don't think that's something he's looking for. But what I am looking for is honesty in relationships, especially when it comes to trans people. As it is, I have a good sense for whether people are bullshitting me or not. I have a good sense for reading energy, in terms of feelings. Um, I can get a feeling pretty quickly, when I enter the room, as to what the energy is, um, whether I'm going to be okay in it, so on and so forth. And this is built up, So people, it's called clairsentience. But people who have psychic abilities, it's not that. Yeah, there are people who are born with stronger psychic abilities, but it's not like there are people who don't have it. Everybody has psychic abilities. You can build up your abilities. You do have to work at it, but you can build them up. Now, my ability to sense feelings and emotions and energy is something that has happened because of what I guess I would consider childhood issues. But and just just tuning in. Like, I've done a lot of energy work, I've done a lot of breath work, I've done a lot of magic work. So sensing and feeling energy is not anything new for me. Having prophetic dreams is not anything new for me. Um, so I don't know where I was going with that. All the so I guess I don't know how I jumped from my dealer to that, but I guess I was saying that I can feel with certain guys and certain people in certain rooms that I am not necessarily not necessarily welcomed and not necessarily wanted, even if I'm in there and they say I can be in there. This happens in many places, and I pick up on it immediately. And some people think I don't pick up on it because I want to be included so badly, but that's not necessarily the case. I just want to uh, I do want to take up space. Because I feel that I should take up space, This is me, and this is me how I am. And I'm a beautiful, luminous creature, and as such I should be recognized, and that's just anybody. I think anybody should be recognized for their beauty. Hey Luca, what's up? Yeah, so like, represent yourself. Don't ever sell yourself short. I know I do sometimes, and it's hard to, at certain points, believe in yourself and believe that you are down, down, like you're 10 toes down with yourself. But if you are, then, everybody else can just, like, Mm, you know, now that being said, we all have feelings and we all have emotions, and they can be trampled on and hurt. We don't like to do that. Yeah, we struggle. Yeah, we all struggle, and it's hard. Nobody wants to feel like we are. Nobody wants to feel like they're not included. Nobody wants to feel like they're all alone. And I have a friend who is alone, and they have a hard time filling their days and their nights. I mean, they obviously they work, but they have a hard time filling their nights. And when I lived alone for 3 years, it was hard. It was hard for the first couple of the first year. It was fun. The second year, it was okay. The third year was absolute hell. And ever since then and before then I had roommates, and I lived with my parents, of course, and then I moved in with the egg, and we got married, and I've lived with the egg ever since. Now that doesn't mean we haven't taken breaks from each other. Like, egg used to be a project, and is still, but she used to be a project set coordinator, so she would have to go out of town for like 3-4 weeks at a time. So we'd get breaks like that. As it is now, she does not go out of town, but she does go to take care of. Uh, she takes care of some stuff, and so in taking care of some stuff, she gets out of the house. She gets to have some peace for herself, and I get to have peace for myself, which I don't necessarily need a lot of. I'm the kind of person who likes to have a person around me, and what that means is I can be in one room and a person can be in another room, but as long as I feel like that person is around, that is fine. It's almost like parallel play type of thing. If I can, I will go, and Egg will be sitting on her phone and watching a TV show. I'll just go in and play on my phone, write some poetry, and not fucking talk to her. Like, not talk to her at all. you know and we do this all the time. Yeah, totally get it. It's the human experience. Yeah, definitely. So with egg, egg is autistic. I'm ADHD, so we got that little spiciness going on. But so yeah, nobody wants to be alone. Yeah, I shouldn't say nobody wants to be alone, because that's not true. I just don't know anybody who wants to be alone. I'm sure that there are people who like being alone, because being alone is not the same as being lonely. You can be alone and still have a fulfilling life. Being lonely seems a little bit harder for me. Um, Being lonely would be heartbreaking. Um, I don't know how long I could take being lonely, you know? I have a hard time being alone, shit. So I don't know how long I could take being lonely. Um, but we all have our burdens to bear, and thankfully that's not mine. Um, I have the egg, and the egg has me, and we have our bestie who we so when we get older and our besties girls graduate from school and do their thing, we are all going to have a Golden Girls situation where we're all going to be living together. Because, honestly, we need to take care of each other. We're getting older. Um, and like trans stuff does not exist for elderly people across the nation. Like maybe in New York City I think they have like a trans care facility for older or elder people, like 60s or 55 and up. You know how they have those 55 and up facilities for cis or for regular people. But for trans people, we just don't have anything like that. So it's not safe for us, and as trans people, we usually don't have a gang of money. So like, what are we supposed to do when we get older? Insurance is has become a grip. Even if we work, they're taking a lot of money from insurance out, and it's getting worse. It's not getting better. So I'm trying to figure something out. I don't know. Um, let's see, Gabby, you're alone most of the time, but almost never lonely. Now that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you can be alone, and that's okay. Um, but once it becomes a thing where you become lonely, then to me, I that's when I think I would my mind would go, and yeah, so I think that's when my mind would go. Yeah, but so let's talk about me and the egg. Me and the egg have been together since we started dating in 2002. If y'all don't know, I met Egg in a club, and I've told the origin story on Facebook, so it always pops up April 29th or April 27th, one of those days. I can't remember. But I met her in a club, uh, and it was deep house music, and the DJ was a San Francisco DJ named Miguel Miggs. So if you know anything about deep house music, Miguel Miggs. He's been a staple of deep house for years, for decades. Well, I was listening to him in 2000, with Naked Music, and then Pedal Pusher. I think he's Pedal Pusher as well. I may be wrong on that. But Miguel Miggs, and of course his sidekick, who shows up in a lot of his music, Lisa Shaw. And so she was singing, and he was DJing, and the groove was a definite groove. So I was rolling, doing coke, rolling, having a grand old time. I was trying to talk game to Egg, and Egg was like not having it at all. So Egg is straight edge. She does not party at all. Um, and she wasn't having it, so she was dancing with her friends, and I was just like chilling on the couch because they had these velvet couches. So there's a dance floor and like the DJ booth, and behind the dance floor was like a couple of bars on either side, some chairs to sit in, and these velvet couches that like kind of went like a U shape. So my little camp was on one side of one of the velvet couches, and I turn around, I look to my left, and there is this beautiful black woman. Uh, she is sitting so elegantly, so stunning, So beautiful, like just beautiful chocolate skin, not a blemish on her, sitting up straight. Like, I don't sit up straight. Like, I'm sitting up like this. I got a fucking hump in my back. She was like this and like beautiful and so statuesque. And she's trans, y'all. And so this is 2002. This is the first time I saw a black trans woman that was not like Jerry Springer. And that may be my fault because I wasn't exposed and I didn't go looking. But in 2002, that was the first time I saw a black woman who was trans and looked stunning, darling, stunning. So that was the blueprint. Yeah, let's see. So Gabby, I don't know myself that well. I do work on my personal needs, but I am still I'm a searcher, like a lot of people, a seeker of knowledge and a seeker of truth, and always trying to understand myself and deepen my relationship with myself and the way I believe and the way I am in the world, the way I exist, and why I am supposed to be here in this dimension at this time. You see, because I could get science like all science fiction and all this kind of shit, but there are multiple dimensions, and we are living in multiple dimensions at the same time. But that's as far as I'll go into that without y'all thinking I'm a conspiracy theorist. Hey Joe, what's up? Yes, I'm a work in progress, always messy, not clean, always a messy work in progress. But yeah, me and Egg met at a club. She didn't give me the time of day. About 2, 3 weeks later, we sat down and talked, and had a real conversation with me not all fucked up and her not with her friends. And that conversation went gangbusters. And, from there we had a date and then we moved in with each other. We had one date and then we were like, fuck this, let's move in with each other. Okay. So my parents were like, y'all are tripping. Her parents were like, what the fuck? But her parents didn't care as much. My parents were like, y'all are fucking tripping. Y'all just don't know what y'all are doing. 2002 interracial marriage. Not interracial marriage, interracial dating. First of all, y'all are living out of biblical lives. Y'all are just like living together, not married, doing the do, and I was like, yeah, well, and so what of it? Because I left the church at 16. My parents are still very religious. My whole family's very religious. My dad is a reverend, so that he wasn't a reverend when I left the church. He was just a simple OBGYN. But then after he finished his career in medicine, went to theology school, got a doctorate, and became a reverend. So he's doctor, or Dr. Reverend, just like well, not like Raphael Warnock, who is unfortunately a friend of the family. And I say unfortunately because I know some stuff about him that people don't know, but we'll keep that to ourselves, won't we? So back to the conversation at hand, contraception is a myth, and if you understand. I met Egg at a club. We sat down, we talked, we moved in. And then, it was just one of these things where we were just sitting down talking. And if I remember correctly, Egg is going to have to come back in and correct me. But if I remember correctly, we were at my parents' house, sitting on my parents' couch, just talking. And then, like, together, we were just like, why don't we go get married? Like, let's go get married in Las Vegas. And because we were going to Las Vegas anyway. So we were like, why don't we just get married while we are in Vegas? Crazy kids living out crazy ideas and crazy lives, not even, really thinking. And so we were like, yeah, let's do this shit. So we had already had the trip booked. We called around the little chapels and shit like that where we could get married. We expressly stated that we did not want a Christian wedding or a religious wedding of any sort, unless it was going to be like pagan type stuff. That did not happen. So first of all, we did get to Vegas. My parents offered to fly my family out. I said no, which is something I regret right now. My dad was really nice at that point, like wanted to fly everybody out, see us get married. The reason why I didn't want them to come is really selfish. It was because I was an addict, and I am an addict, but I was in the throes of my addiction at that point. So you've got to understand that I did not want my parents around me. I like right before I walked down the aisle, I did two big bumps of Coke. And Egg didn't even know the whole time. She didn't even know. We brought, and I shouldn't say bought, we brought three balls of Coke. And if you don't know what a ball of Coke is, just go look it up. I won't like get any further in it. But yeah, so back then I was in my super druggy phase. I just couldn't have my family around for that. And Egg didn't want her family around either because they had done some bullshit. They had put her in some financial issues by doing some things that you wouldn't expect a parent to do. So we were basically on our own with a couple of our friends. We had a great time. We partied our ass off. We had a limo where Egg and I went to the Bellagio and the limo parked, and we got to see the fountains, and that was fun. And then we went to a steak place called Prime. Which was delicious. That was our wedding night. And the wedding night was kind of funny because Egg went to bed at like 8 and we all partied till like when she woke up, we were still partying. And then we went to a place called in Paris, called first of all, in Paris, the hotel called Mon Ami Gabi. And if you've ever heard of Mon Ami Gabi, if you've ever been, then you know what I'm talking about. It's probably the best restaurant I have ever been to in my life. That was the first place I tried escargot. Delicious. The steak, amazing. Like all the food I had there was so good. So good. Yes, Joe, thank you. So many did not make it. I unfortunately I have several friends who did not make it. And yeah, that's rough. So um yeah, yeah. Addiction is a rough thing. I'm thankful that I made my way out of it. It was me who did it. It wasn't anybody else. I put the effort in. I put the effort in. It was me. I don't, I did go through AA because I was forced to. I did not complete the 12th step. And I don't know if any of y'all have been to AA. AA is basically trading one addiction for another. You're addicted to Coke. Okay, you go to rehab, and then you go to AA, and then you get addicted to AA. You have the coffee and the cigarettes and the meetings and the people who are addicts, and then you have people who are hooking up with people who are addicts, and then they start to use again, or they don't use again, but they're AA and they go to AA. So what I'm saying is AA is its own special cult, and it's its own addiction. So I went through AA and NA. AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I was not an alcoholic. I did not drink all that much, but I still had to go through AA. I went through NA to Narcotics Anonymous. The thing about NA and AA is that the 12th step is, at least for AA, I don't remember the 12th step for NA because I pretty much stopped going. I was just like, fuck this shit. I'm not going. The 12th step for AA is to go out and colonize the world, to teach people about the dangers of alcohol and stuff like that. And while that sounds good, and to bring people into the brotherhood or whatever the fuck they call it, yeah, I'm not doing that. never have done shit like that, and I'm not. And so I didn't, and I walked. The thing about AA though is it did help me focus myself long enough to not have to worry about trying to score or anything like that. So um, through my perseverance and through the help of AA, yeah, and through the help of rehab. So maybe it wasn't just me, but I put the majority of the effort in to get through and to come out sober, or well, sober-ish. I still smoke weed, but yeah, that's my drug story. But me and Egg went to, and we got married, and we came back, and there's a CD, because back then there were CDs. There's a CD record, or a CD recording of the marriage, and you can see me about to absolutely clock the Reverend. I was about to knock that motherfucker out. Because he was just like going off about God this and God that and bless it. And me and Egg were like, no, no, no. I mean, and Egg was holding my hand so tight. She was like, don't do this now. And I was about to let off, but I didn't. It's just, it bothers me so much that we got a Christian marriage. Here's the thing though, and I think I talked about this before. I don't know if I talked about this before or if I didn't, but who knows if Egg and I are actually married. So I got married. When we got married, I was listed as a guy. On my on my marriage certificate, it lists me as a guy. I, of course, transitioned both legally and medically. So my gender is now female, even though I'm non-binary. I've got the F on my driver's license. I do not have an F on my birth certificate. I have an M, which is kind of shitty because my birth certificate's in Texas. So there is no way I'm going to be able to change it. And our marriage certificate, of course, has an M on it. Kelly, oh, I said her name. So Egg's name is actually Kelly, and I'm sorry about that, but it's a normal name. So Egg, and there's not a lot of people in here. There's only 8 people in here, and all y'all 8 people, y'all motherfuckers better promise not to say her name. Don't spread it around because we want to keep her as anonymous as possible. But Egg. Let's see what was I saying? Egg. I have no idea what I was saying. I threw myself for a fucking loop. Oh, boo! Let's do the booing. Such is life, such is life. I was going to read a poem just because I've been working on poetry, and I love writing poetry. I realize after reading a lot of people's poetry that mine is not the best, but I also realize that when I read it in my head, it sounds great. And when I read it out loud to myself, to my walls, to my flags, it sounds excellent. Like I'm the best poet in the motherfucking world. But I do call myself the bloody awful poet because I understand. I have not been trained. I don't understand the mechanics of writing a poem. But that doesn't matter to me. Oh, let's see. I was talking about my birth certificate. Oh, okay. So yeah, let me get back to that. Thank you, Gabby. So we got married. I was assigned male at birth. It has an M on it. My birth certificate has an M on it. My driver's license, my social security card, and my passport have F's on them. I am non-binary, which would be an X, but like I was never going to get the X because that doesn't make any sense this time. So I got an F. So Egg called the Las Vegas County Clerk's office saying, listen, we need to get this changed. I've got the paperwork, we can send it off. And they were like, nah, bitch, you need to actually come to Las Vegas to the county clerk's office. And we were like, okay, so we live in the A. How do you expect us to fly across the country? And they're like, "Hey, we don't care. You gotta come down here." So, and they didn't even send us our birth certificate back. So, we don't have, not our birth certificate. I'm sorry, I keep on saying that. Our marriage certificate. So we don't have a legal marriage certificate. We have a copy. So we have two copies, but we don't have the legal one. Um, and since it's on, here's the thing: I am listed as a woman, and so we are basically two women married. So that makes us a lesbian relationship. Non-binary, but for me, and queer for her. But in all appearances, it's a lesbian. It's a woman loving woman relationship. So two women. So it's a gay relationship. If they overturn Obergefell or Obergefell, however you say it, then what does that mean for us? And what does that mean for us right now? Like, are we actually married? Or I mean, we are married, but are we really married? Like, because my marriage certificate has an M on it. And I get all my tax stuff, all my passport stuff has an F on it. All my stuff has an F on it, except for my fucking birth certificate. Um, so this leads, our will. As a matter of fact, we had a will, but our will is outdated because it has an M on it. So we have to create a new will. We are scrambling to do a lot of stuff because time is running out. They are treating trans people like we are like dog shit on the back of their shoes. So, time is running out. I'm trying to figure out a plan. Egg is not facing it. To be completely honest, I am not facing it either because it is hard. I don't want to have to plan to flee. I know people who have left. I know people who have left who were forced to leave. And when you're forced to leave, that's a different story. Not when you leave yourself, but when you're forced to leave your house, when you're forced to leave your city, your state, and your country. Like, how does that work in terms of being married? Well, I don't know. Like, I'm on disability. I still get my disability. And the fucked up thing is when you get married, they take your disability away. Well, they didn't take mine away, and I'm not going to say anything, but they didn't take it away. So I don't know. Like, I don't understand why. Um, so I do get disability. It matters for medical care and such. I have a friend listed as my brother, and then they have never questioned. That's a smart idea, Joe. Smart idea. Really smart idea. That might be something that we need to look at. I don't know uh, how we're going to come to a resolution on this. I think the best thing to do is to probably contact a lawyer and get them involved. We do have, my sister is a lawyer, but I don't want to go through my sister because my sister's a pain in the ass. So I'll go through a queer lawyer firm that we met last year at Pride. Um, and they were really nice, and they've been, really nice and following up with me just to see if I needed anything. I understand that that's their business, but I I appreciate that their business would take the time to call me to see if I need any help in any legal matters, and to uh, remember that they are a firm that I can go to. So we will be going to them. Yeah, they've got our business, and since they were at Pride, and we talked to them at length, and they do have queer people in their company, in their legal firm, that work on legal cases. That is what we needed. Um, yeah, so that's all I got for today. For right now, at least, we're coming in on an hour, so we're coming in hot. I'm gonna go out and get some food with my bestie. I'm dressed to the nines. No, I'm not. I just got on the normal dress. I wear dresses every day. Especially, here's the thing: when I was younger in the '90s, I saw all these cute girlies, and I was, the funny thing about being trans is, and especially being about a trans woman, which when I came out, I came out as a binary trans woman, and so the funny thing about being a trans woman is the meme that says, do I like her or do I want to be her? And it's kind of this. It's like for me, it was the same thing. Do I really like her? She's hot. Do I like her? She's really great looking. And then I started thinking about her clothes. Do I like her or do I want to wear her clothes? Do I want to be her? Do I want her style? So in the '90s, I loved the style. For you, it was both, Gabby? Yeah, for me, it was both too. It was definitely both. Yeah, so I remember the girls were hot. 90s fashion for me was hot in the '90s. I brought the '90s alt girl fashion, the dresses and the boots, the clunky Doc Martens and things like that, platforms. That's what I wear. I wear short dresses, flowy dresses, um, clunky Doc Martens. I get shoes from Torrid because I get a lot of my clothes from Torrid because I'm a bigger gal, got a little belly on me, and Torrid clothes fit me well. And to be completely honest, I don't know my size in many other stores because it's crazy. Like, I don't like women's clothes like that. Like, why can't y'all just give me one number and let me stick with one number? Like one number. Like, so love '90s fashion. Yeah, '90s fashion is awesome, especially '90s alt girls. When I think of '90s alt girls, of course, Courtney Love comes to mind. All of the Riot Girl movement. You know, um, let's see, in the early 2000s, the neo soul movement. Or I think that might have been in the '90s too, actually. So all of this congeals to kind of create an image in my mind that I always wanted to express. And well, Egg found out in an unfortunate way, but the minute she accepted that I was trans and this is how life is going to be, and she was going to stay with me, she pulled out this dress. I twirled and she started crying. She understood. That's a story for another day. Yeah, it's a beautiful story. It really is a beautiful story. And we have a picture of me twirling, but it's just the dress and it catches the light and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful memory, it really is. But what that meant is then we got to trade clothes. I because at that point I could wear her clothes, so I got to wear a lot of her clothing, and it allowed me to build my own style. So by experimentation I built my own style, and now the style I have is my style, and people recognize it as the type of style I wear, and I love it. I'm playing with makeup again, which I stopped for years. So I started transitioning in 2015. Um, Started wearing makeup, and I had worn makeup before. I'd worn makeup for a lot of my life, but not seriously, not like every day. And like I'd painted my nails. I've always had my nails painted since I was 16. um, so that wasn't necessarily anything new. The new thing about having my nails painted was that I went to a different color instead of dark black, not dark black, just black. Instead of black, I changed to an aubergine or a plum or something like that. Yeah, style is so much fun. Yeah, love style. So yeah, nails, hair. I got my locks done. Not my locks done. I actually grew my locks. Um, I cut them like a while ago, but now they're back down to my butt again. So I don't know if I'll cut them again, like Egg cut them for me. Um, but now they're down to my butt again. So I don't know if I'll cut them this time. Um, but yeah, I got my locks popping. Fashion really is, I'm not a fashion killer. I'm not going to be walking the runways anytime soon, but it is a style that I get down with. So anyway, I'm calling this a day or a time for right now. Yeah, I might be back on later on tonight, but for right now, I'm going to reiterate the stand thing that I said before. I do not write on Substack anymore. I do lives on Substack, and that is why I am here. But I do writing on OnyxRose.net. So if you want to read any of that, please go there, read, subscribe so you can get my stuff in your box every day or every other day. Um, I promise you it's not going to be horrible, but it's not going to be great. It'll be fun to get a little bit inside my head. My poetry will be sent, and all my other writing. Plus, you can just go on to my page, click on the tags, and take a look at all that stuff. The Onyx Rose not .net. When you pull it up, it'll say it's a purple screen because I love purple. It's got a pink little thing too. I don't say Onyx Rose, um, presence, not permission. And that is the way I describe myself, presence, not permission. I take up space, but not because you have given me the permission to do it. I take up space because I am necessary in this world and my opinion matters. And for it's taken a while to understand that I am here for well, it hasn't taken a while. It's taken a while to settle in to believe that I'm here for a specific reason, and I know that reason. So let me tell y'all really quick. If any of y'all have problems, questions, need someone to speak to, need someone to talk to who's private and who is not a therapist and will not charge you, my inbox is always open. Um, I am a person who people have come to many times before, and many people do come to, and I do listen well and give advice when needed, um, and I do keep good secrets. And that's something that people should know about me. And the reason why I'm saying all this is not because I'm bragging. It is a um, I won't say it's a right. That's not the right word. It is something within me. It is something that is necessary, something that has been passed down to me spiritually. And I take it very seriously. I take people's people's feelings and people's uh truths and the words that people speak to me very seriously. When it's serious. So if y'all ever need anything, seriously, come to me. I can talk to y'all. I have no problem talking to anybody. Just be respectful. I'll be respectful to you, and we can talk. All right, y'all. That is it for today, or at least for right now. I'm gonna go get some food. Okay. Y'all, peace and chicken grease, aviento, and all that good shit. Oh, let's do how we normally close. No trash, no transphobia, no racism, no ableism, no sexism, no homophobia. Fuck Trump and fuck ICE. All right, y'all, be good.